All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm so excited to show you guys this. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys literally everything that you need to know, right? The desk setup, the softwares you need, like the script, how to pick an IMO, how to pick an agency, the leads, literally everything that goes into selling life insurance. And I'm going to be showing you guys like exactly what you need to be able to sell life insurance from home in 2024 and beyond. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So obviously today we're going to be talking about how to sell life insurance from home. This is going to be a complete and full guide. So again, this exact setup that I'm going to give you guys and then I'm going to show you, this is exactly what we're using in our agency to write $10,000 every single week as a personal producer, right? So we have personal producers writing $10,000 every single week with this exact setup. And with the way our agency is structured, that's like $5,000 in commission that they get to take home, right? So let's dive right into this. What are we going to be talking about today? Number one, we're going to start with the expectations, right? Because a lot of times people kind of, hype the industry up more than they need to. And we're going to really like break that down and see what's actually possible. We're going to be talking about the physical toolbox, right? Like the gadgets, meaning like what headset should you get, what desk should you have, like all of the physical things that you need, the physical toolbox, right? Then we're going to talk about the digital toolbox. This is every single software that you need and exactly how we've like configured our softwares to work in the most optimal, high functioning way. I'm going to be giving you guys that all in this video. We're going to be talking about how to pick an agency, right? So I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're maybe new to insurance or relatively new to insurance. This is like the exact framework that you need to use when you're picking an agency. So like everything that you need to use to weigh that decision and ultimately decide who to go with. The carriers, like what are the best carriers to use in 2024 and beyond? I'm going to show you guys this. The leads, right? How do you get leads? What is the best, most optimal way to get leads? We're going to be talking about that as well. And then the script. I'm going to be doing a full breakdown of the script in this video, showing you guys exactly what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and how to respond to objections, everything. And then last, we're going to be talking about underwriting. I'm going to show you guys how to actually get policies approved and how to know which carrier to write and when. So when I say this is going to be a comprehensive, like full breakdown, that's exactly what it's going to be. So you guys better get used to listening to me talk because this video is probably going to be pretty long. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. And I really just want to like break this down with some expectations before we really get into the meat and potatoes of this video, because a lot of people are sold the dream in this industry, right? As you guys can see from this graphic up top here, we have what recruiters tell you, how it's going to be making six figures. And it looks like a smooth straight line path, right? To making, 100 grand from home with no college degree. Oh my God, it's the best thing ever. Like this is the easiest business. That's what people tell you, right? In reality, it is not at all that. It's a very treacherous path, as with anything worth doing, right? You're going to face obstacles. You're going to, have clouds come out of the sky and thunder down on you. There's all kinds of things that are going to come up, right? You're going to deal with chargebacks. You're going to get rejected on the phone. You're going to get cussed out. There's so many things that come with this. And so I just want to really like set the expectation. The reason that this industry is so lucrative is because it's hard. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And obviously everyone's not doing it because not everyone's cut out for it. So you need to be approaching this opportunity and approaching this with the mindset of, I'm getting into something hard and I'm willing to do the work, right? So for those of you that are new, there's basically like two different sides to the insurance business. And part of the reason that the failure rate is so high is because a lot of people, they think that they're signing up for a sales job because that's kind of what they're pitched on, right? Hey, you're going to go out there and there's just all these people that want to buy insurance from you and all you got to do is answer the phone and they're going to give you their banking account routing, like literally just for breathing, right? That's what people are kind of sold. They think they're signing up for just a sales job. I show up, I close deals, and then I'm good, right? But in reality, when you become an insurance broker, what you actually are is a business owner, right? And let me kind of break down like the key distinctions between these. A sales job, all you have to do is show up and sell, right? You don't have to worry about marketing. You don't have to worry about hiring. You don't have to worry about finance. You just sell. A business owner, they have to sell, which you're going to have to do. They have to market, which is getting leads. They have to hire people, which is hiring people to, have a downline and build an agency. And they have to do finance. You have to track and know your numbers. So you have 4 different things that you need to do when you think you're just getting into one, right? And this is really the root of why people fail, is they think they're joining a sales job, but they're actually becoming a business owner. And most people don't know that, right? So if you go the business owner route, which at the end, I'm going to show you guys kind of a way where you can have this industry be more of a sales job, if that's what you're looking for. You guys will have to wait to the end before I kind of like reveal what that looks like. But if you go the business owner route, which is what most people actually end up doing, these are some things that you need to be expecting, right? Number 1, you will suck. You will be terrible at this in the beginning. You will probably lose money in the beginning. You will have to work over 40 hours a week. I'm talking more than 8 hours a day, right? You won't be able to work part-time. This is not an industry that is part-time friendly. This is not driving Uber. This is a real business. You are going to be responsible for sales, marketing, finance, and human resources, which is just hiring for those that don't know. This is not easy. You will not get rich quick, and you should expect to fail, but you don't actually fail until you quit. So expect to fail, but then expect to learn from it and succeed, right? So with all of these expectations, the bright side is if you do stick with this and don't quit, in a few years, you could be making the most money you've ever made in your whole life. And that is 100% true. This business has changed my life. It's changed the lives of so many people that I know personally. And it's allowed me to, honestly, be able to travel the world and run a business from anywhere, right? Which is incredible. So this business has done that for me. It can do it for you, but you need to come into it with the proper expectations and be willing to get through the suck so you can get to the sunshines and rainbows. So with that being said, now that 50% of you guys are gone because you've decided that this is not something you want to do, let's get into what you actually need. So the physical toolbox, these are the actual things that you need to do the job. There's a few of them that you actually need, and then there's a few that are kind of like, these would be good to have. So a laptop, you do need a laptop, right? I like the MacBook Pro. This is what I have. And you can buy one of those on Amazon for like $1,500. I even included a link here so you guys can see. Here's, a laptop for $1,500. I personally would get the most spec'd out one if you can afford it, because it's going to allow you to like move faster when you're calling and doing different things. I just like having a faster computer. But I mean, as long as you have a laptop, I mean, I know people that do this with like freaking laptops that, barely even work. But if you're trying to optimize for efficiency, get a nice laptop, right? Don't cheap out on the computer. You can get one for $1,500, right? A headset with a good mic, right? You need to have this. This is a non-negotiable. You can't be calling from your phone. And you guys will see what software we call with as I get into this. But you need to have a high-quality headset so that you can hear the people you're talking to and so that they can hear you. The type of life insurance that I'm going to be teaching you guys how to sell is mainly marketed towards seniors. And so sometimes they're hard of hearing. You cannot have crappy audio quality. So I have a really, really good headset here on Amazon. This is like extremely high rated, 8,288 ratings, 4.4 stars out of 5, and it's only $93. So this one is supposed to have like a really, really high quality mic. I think we have like a different headset, but honestly, if I were to buy it again, I'd probably buy this one. So check this out on Amazon. I'll leave all the links to these below in the description. So $1,599, right? That's all you need. Literally just a laptop and a headset. From that, you're good. All this other stuff is extra. A gamer chair, right? One of the like fancy chairs. I have one of those back home. It looks like this. This is super comfy. Like, you want to optimize your workstation, because the thing is, you're going to be spending a lot of time doing this, right? You're going to be spending a lot of time sitting in your chair at your desk, calling and talking to people. And so you want to make it as comfortable and rewarding of an environment as you possibly can. Now, obviously, if you have no money, you can call, hunched over your computer. Like, you can get past that, but if you're trying to optimize, you want to make your workspace enjoyable to be in. Part of that is taking care of your body, which this chair is really, really good. Like, for your spine, it gives you good neck support. Your shoulders are relaxed. You got lumbar support. Like, it's a great chair. So I highly recommend it if you can afford it. The next thing is a raisable desk. This is a really good purchase you can make because you don't want to sit down for 12 hours a day or 8 hours a day or whatever you decide to work. You want to kind of go between sitting and standing, right? So this is like a major key for you guys because, again, you're going to be spending most of your time at your desk. This is a desk that raises up and lowers down automatically, and it's only $230, right? Like, this is a phenomenal deal. So I would highly recommend getting a desk that can go standing or sitting because you don't want to be sitting for hours and hours and hours. And ultimately, like, switching between standing and sitting will result in you having more energy, which will ultimately result in you making more money. I know that sounds weird, but it's 100% true. So that's the next thing. Again, these two are optional. The third one is this mouse that I really like. So this is called a gun mouse. And it's basically just like, it's easier on your hands because the worst thing you want to do is like be at your computer all day and get freaking carpal tunnel or some craziness. And so this one, like, your hand is almost like sideways. And so it's like, it's more ergonomic. Like, it just feels better with your body. You see, like, here, like, your wrist is at a weird angle. It squeezes nerves, causing pain and discomfort, whereas this, like, alleviates the pressure. I know this like might be like really like in the weeds stuff, but these are like the little small things that have allowed me to optimize my work environment and just like get more done, right? So I really like these. This mouse is $24. You can just go with a regular mouse, but I don't know, I like having a cool mouse. And then a Bluetooth keyboard. And you guys are probably wondering, like, why do I need a keyboard and a mouse if I have a laptop? Well, you guys will see in just a second. You have like a nice keyboard. I like the ones where the buttons like really click. You're going to need a mouse and a keyboard because what I like to do is have at least two screens, right? If you really if once you start making some more money and you want to like optimize it, get two screens. And the reason why is because on one screen, you're going to have your CRM, and the other screen, you're going to have your dialer and your script. And so basically, if you're able to have those two screens, you can go between like quoting and finding and taking notes on the person. Like, it's in its purest form, doing telesales for life insurance is like a 2 or 3 screen job. It's tough to do on one. It's 100% possible, but if you want to optimize and be as efficient and quick as possible, you're going to want to have at least 2 screens. So you can get an extra monitor for $124. And then basically what you do, kind of the way that this ends up being set up, is you have your laptop on one of these, and then you have this port that plugs into it, and you basically connect the monitor to this port with an HDMI cord, which is this one here that says HDMI. Right here, HDMI. And then you can basically connect it with your laptop and have those multiple screens. And then you have the keyboard and the mouse here. You have your laptop here. And then you have the monitor here. So you have the 2 screens. Everything's optimized. And then you got your desk that you can stand at or sit at. And then basically your laptop just sits on the stand and you have multiple screens. So it's pretty amazing, right? So required, if you already have a computer, you obviously don't need to buy a new computer. If you already have a computer, it's just going to be $99 to get a good headset. But if you don't have a computer, the total required is $1,600, right, to get the laptop and a headset. If you want to, be a little fancy and get the extra stuff that I personally recommend, you're going to be $2,300 out of pocket. Again, if you already have a computer, just subtract $1,500 from this, and you can get a really, really nice setup that's going to allow you to optimize your work environment and get more done for, a few $100, right, which is pretty cool. So that's the physical toolbox. Again, don't get it all, put all of that on a credit card because Tim told you to do it. Again, these are bonuses. These are optional things that will optimize your work environment. And I want to include those because some of you guys will do that, but don't do that if it's not in your reach right now. So let's go to the digital toolbox now, right? So the first thing we're going to talk about is the CRM. This is like the heart that pumps blood throughout the body. This is like the central nervous system of this whole setup, right? Is Go High Level CRM. And essentially what this is, if you've never used it, is it's a CRM that allows you to have or that allows your contacts to be within it. And then there's automations and workflows that'll happen, right? So basically what it allows you to do is you can connect all these different things where you say like, hey, when this happens, then this happens. You can text your leads through the CRM. You can call your leads through the CRM. Honestly, there's more things that you can do through high level than you can. And I'll show you guys kind of what that looks like in a minute when I get into like showing the full setup. But here I just want to kind of show the toolbox. The next thing is the Kixie dialer, which again, I'll show you guys how that works. This is $150 a month. The CRM is $97 a month. There's different plans. The lowest one is $97. Kixie is $150 a month. This is basically what allows you to call and get a higher answer rate. So you call with Kixie, you store your leads with Go High Level. Don't worry, I'll explain all of it later. And then the last thing you need is insurance toolkits. This is a must-have. All of these softwares are a must-have. You will get crushed by the competition if you don't have these. Insurance toolkits is a quoter. So this basically allows you to find the lowest possible rates for people and get them the most amount of coverage. So you basically use this to find the most bang for their buck so that you can get them the best possible plan. So all told, you're going to need to spend about $286 a month in software. To be honest, if you can't do this, this is like a must. This is really a must. Like I would work longer at your job to be able to afford these softwares because like without this, you're going to get like demolished by agents that have it. This is like really what allows the system to run. So that is the digital toolbox. Now let's talk about picking an agency, right? Because whenever you first get started, where you decide to put your contracts with and the training and the mentorship you get is really going to be a major, major factor towards determining your success, right? So you have to make sure that you make a good decision because if you make a bad decision, that could single-handedly like knock you out of this business for years. And if you make a good decision, it could help leapfrog and propel you to success. So there's 5 keys to picking the right agency, which I'm going to talk about here. Number 1 is comp, which is just your compensation. We have training. We have captive agent versus broker. We have the culture. And then we have the resources. So let's start with compensation. So the way that I like to describe this, and I have like a little story analogy that explains this really well, is let's imagine you were opening a pizza restaurant, right? You're going to open a pizza restaurant from scratch in the middle of your city or whatever. And you basically have the pick of the litter, not the pick of the litter, but you have 2 options. You have 2 options between 2 people that want to be your business partner. On the left here, we have John, and on the right here, we have Tony. So John is making you an offer, and he only wants 10% of your business, right? Whereas Tony, on the other hand, he wants half of that thing. He wants 50% of your business. So this guy wants 10%, but this guy wants 50%. Well, you may be saying, oh, well, obviously, I want the guy that's going to take less equity because I want more equity. Well, let's see. So here's what John is offering you to do. He's going to connect you with his suppliers, right? For pepperoni, tomato sauce, dough, mushrooms, produce, all these different cheese, whatever. Connect you with all of his, suppliers and get you a good deal on all that stuff, right? And in this case, suppliers are just like carriers. But John wants to be a silent partner, right? So he might answer the occasional phone call, but he's not going to be like in your ear helping you grow this pizza joint. He's just going to kind of like connect you and then just disappear into the distance. He wants 10%, so he doesn't want a ton, but he doesn't want to be super active in helping you succeed in business, right? Whereas Tony, on the other hand, he wants half of the business, but he's going to connect you with his suppliers, and he's going to give you his proven framework and system that he's personally used to grow his own pizza restaurant, and the same framework he's used to help other people grow their pizza restaurant. He's also going to provide you with training and mentor you on how you can grow your pizza restaurant, and even connect you with other pizza business owners that are already successful so you guys can share ideas and grow together. So this guy wants half of your business, but he's going to be more invested in helping you succeed. So who are you going to pick now, right? Well, for me, especially if I'm newer to the business, I'm going to pick Tony every single day of the week. And the reason why is I'm getting more. I'm getting more bang for my buck. And the odds of me succeeding are going to be higher because Tony also has 50% of the business. He's more invested in my success than John, right? The problem is there's a lot of people that are like John, but they want 50% of your business, right? They're not going to help you at all, but they want 50%. And this is one of the worst models that you can possibly be in, right? So to kind of recap that story, basically like comp, the amount you get paid per policy, think of it like you have $1, right? And you can spend that dollar on whatever you want. You can spend none of that dollar and get nothing, right? So you get 100%. Or you can spend a percentage of that dollar and get something. So you really need to value the dollar, right? And say, hey, I want 50 cents towards getting free leads and a bunch of training. Okay, cool. I want 10 cents towards this, right? And figure out like what is giving you the most value, because your comp is just your dollar, right? So if you have a 100-point comp, what are you willing to give up to get, right? And make sure that if you are giving something up, you are getting something equal or more in value in return, right? So that's what I have to say about comp. The next thing is training, right? So when you're a new agent, like you need somebody that's going to like take you in the dojo of sales and insurance and just whip you into shape. Like if you don't have somebody that's going to be listening to your sales calls and coaching you and teaching you how to, do the script and everything, like you're going to struggle, right? And the reason why is because there's so many things to learn in this business. Not only just learning how to sell and how to do everything with that, but also how to manage your finances and manage your money. And also like all the other things that come into play with insurance, like underwriting, getting applications approved and pushed through. Like there's so many things that people don't even think about or consider. It's the unknown unknowns that really hurt people. And so whenever you go and, are shopping agencies, you need to make sure that the agency you're going to pick is going to be very in-depth and hands-on in training you, right? Obviously, part of that, you have to be a good trainee, right? Like this freaking ninja master is not going to take some dude off the street that's, drinking beers and barely invested in it. Like you have to be a good student in order to deserve a good teacher. But if you are a good student, which obviously you are because you're watching this video, we're like 15 minutes in, make sure you get a good teacher because you deserve it, right? This is like the most important thing. And a lot of times IMOs and agencies send agents to battle like this and they just get totally slaughtered. So make sure that you're going to be trained by someone that knows what they're doing and is also going to be very in-depth and hands-on with you. So the next thing we're going to talk about is captive agent versus broker, right? So there's basically these two different models of being an agent. One is a captive agent, where you basically only sell one company, right? Think like Jake from State Farm, right? And so the problem with this is you're not able to offer everyone the best rates, right? Like, Jim Bob might have heart failure, but you can't get him approved with your company, right? Whereas a broker is going to have access to a ton of different companies, so they can shop the market to find them the best rate. Whereas a captive agent, you only have one company, one option. The tough part about this is, again, you're not going to be able to offer the best rate to everyone. So you're basically just selling them a product instead of solving the problem. And it's easier for people to replace your business because a lot of times a broker is going to be able to find them a lower rate. So you're going to get more chargebacks as a captive agent, right? Like sometimes you can, put a round peg in a round hole, but a lot of times you're going to be trying to fit a square peg into a round hole as a captive agent. Whereas a broker, they work with multiple insurance companies and they're able to find the best option for each customer, right? So they can say, hey, Jim Bob has heart failure. Okay, I'm going to match him with this company. Okay, Sarah has diabetes. I'm going to match her with this company. And they're able to shop the market to find the best possible rates. So it's harder for others to replace your business when you're a broker because you're going to find people better rates. But the downside is it's tough to learn all the different companies, right? If you're a captive agent, you only have to learn how to sell one company. It's easy. But if you're a broker, you have to manage all these applications and commissions coming from different places. So there's pros and cons. But a broker is more like a, like tender for insurance, right? Like you're like, hey, I want somebody who's tall, blonde, green eyes, plays sports, and then, the person goes out and finds the company for you, right? Or finds the girl for you, whatever it is. So you're basically like tender for insurance. They're like, hey, I have heart failure and diabetes, and you're like, boom, let's put you with Transamerica. So a broker is more like a matchmaker, whereas a captive agent is more like a salesperson. My 2 cents on this, I recommend being a broker, to be honest. That's all I'll say. The next thing is culture, right? This is a very, very big thing that a lot of people don't really take into consideration. So the questions you want to ask, right? And this is like, it's individual based off of you. If you want to be in an MLM, if you want to recruit and build an agency, great, join one. If you don't, stay away from them. It's very simple. So find out, is the agency going to be MLM or production based? Is it going to be based off of recruiting, or is it going to be based off of selling insurance? How do they talk about the clients, right? A lot of people will talk negatively about the clients, like, oh, they suck and they never pay and blah, 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 blah. Like, that is usually indicative of a bad culture, because ultimately this whole business exists to serve the client. And so if your agency is talking about the client in a negative way, that's going to permeate throughout the whole business. So you want to be in an agency, at least in my opinion, that is focused on serving the clients and doesn't speak poorly of them. And then another thing is, how do they talk about other agents, right? So one thing, I joined a pretty, toxic IMO in my opinion. And one thing I remember is, like, whenever somebody would leave, they would talk really, really poorly about them. Like, they would be like, oh, that guy was a loser. He didn't do this and that. Like, that's usually a red flag. And then also, do they release you when you request a release? So for those of you that are new to the insurance business, if you decide that an agency is not for you and you want to leave, you have to request a release, and your company will have to release your carrier contracts. Some companies will hold that and prevent you from leaving. So ask your upline, will they release your contract if you need to leave? So the last part when it comes to picking an agency really comes down to the resources and the things that they're going to offer you, right? Do they have a script? Are they going to give you a script? Again, I'm going to give you guys a script at the end of this video, so if your IMO doesn't give you a script, don't worry. Do they give you a CRM? Do they give you a dialer? Are you going to be able to listen to call recordings, right? To really master the selling of your product? Are you going to go to get support if you're in the middle of an application, like maybe a helpline or like something like that? What are the resources? What is the package that they're giving you when you come to work with them? Don't just pick the first IMO that recruits you. Shop these people like you're picking who you're getting married with. Which, granted, some people get married with the first person that, shows interest in them, but don't be that person. So that's basically it when it comes to picking an agency. You want to weigh all of those things and just really take them into account whenever you decide who you're going to put your contracts with. And remember, they are your business partner. Make sure that the person you get into business with is somebody you're comfortable with and you align with, and that shares your morals, ethics, and values. Let's move on to carriers. So the carriers, what are the best carriers to use, right? And basically the carriers that you have, they determine what you're able to offer people. So it's basically like, if I'm playing poker and I have a bunch of garbage, I'm not going to win the hand. If I have a royal flush, I'm going to win the hand every time. And the carriers that you have are like the cards in your deck. And if you have shitty cards, excuse my French, if you have crappy cards, you're not going to win. So you need to have good cards in your deck. You need to have like good resources, right? So a lot of the people that you talk to are going to have health issues, and you want to have a carrier stack or a carrier deck that allows you to be competitive on the major health conditions. So what are those major health conditions, and what carriers do you need? Well, you're going to need a price buster carrier, right? So this is where you can just come in and just beat the price that somebody has, right? This is usually good for someone like, this is like people that are really healthy, like just like a really cheap quality company. And I'll show you guys which carrier we use for that. you're going to want a diabetic neuropathy carrier, right? So a lot of people have diabetes, if you haven't noticed. And neuropathy is basically when they get numbness in their limbs. And so you're going to need a carrier that will accept that because it's a very common condition. The next thing is COPD. So there's oftentimes people that smoke a lot, they have COPD. You're going to need a carrier that will accept that because it's very common. Heart issues. Heart disease is like the number one cause of death in America. So everyone has freaking heart failure or arrhythmia or AFib. You're going to need a carrier that will accept those things. And then also for the people that just have really, really bad health and none of these other companies will accept them, you're going to want a quality guaranteed issue carrier, right? So which carriers do we use? I like Mutual of Omaha. It's a good price buster. It's hard to get approved with, but if someone can get approved for it, no one's going to beat that rate. American Amicable is a good smoker rate. That's something I didn't mention. So this is another good one. SBLI is kind of like a price buster, but they also just have like a really high approval rate. So you can oftentimes try and get someone approved with SBLI if these other companies won't take them. Rural Neighbors is our diabetic neuropathy. Great Western is our guaranteed issue. And then we use Transamerica for kidney dialysis and heart failure. So these are the carriers that we use. You can screenshot this, take notes, whatever. This is what I highly, highly recommend. This is the stack that we have. All right, let's get to everyone's favorite thing to talk about, which is leads, right? So the leads are this is like the lifeblood or the life force of your business. Think about how people say you are what you eat, right? You are what you eat. If you eat a bunch of cheeseburgers, you're going to be a fat, greasy cheeseburger or whatever. Whereas if you eat healthy, you're going to be healthy and lean and whatever. That's true with leads. So your business is what you feed it. You are what you eat. So whatever leads you feed into your business is going to be what your business is. So if you have crappy leads, you're going to have a crappy business. If you have great leads, you're going to have a great business. Very simple. If you have expensive leads, you're going to have a low profit business. If you have good cost leads, you're going to have a high profit business. It's very simple. So when it comes to leads, there's a few different ways that people go about this. And number one is to buy leads, which is what most people do. And in general, it can be a good option. You just want to make sure you're getting quality leads. And most people, they'll go from lead vendor to lead vendor and they'll just never figure it out, to be honest with you. I've seen that a lot. And leads range anywhere from 50 cents all the way up to $80, depending on what you buy. So there's Facebook leads, there's mailer leads, there's call-in leads, transfers, all this different stuff. The best leads that I've found that you can buy, I like aged leads. This aged lead store is actually who I recommend. Facebook leads are good. Live transfers can be good. Those are really the main type. TV leads can also be good if your IMO offers that. Stay away from direct mail. Stay away from data lists. The age lead store is the only age lead I would touch. Stay away from data lists. And stay away from direct mail. And stay away from live transfers that aren't from a reputable source. So if someone DMs you and offers you live transfers, don't buy those. That's pretty much it when it comes to buying leads. Try a few different vendors. Age lead store is great. TTC's been around for a long time. Test those out and kind of go from there. The other option is to generate leads. This is what I actually built the whole company on, teaching people how to generate leads. I have a bunch of I've posted tons of free courses on my YouTube. Find this video. I'll link it in the description down below. And this would it's like a 45-minute video breaking down how to generate leads. So this is another option. Excuse me. The only downside to this is this is why I was saying you have to be a business owner if you go the broker route, because you have to be a marketer and a salesperson and those other two things like finance and HR. And if you go down this rabbit hole of learning to generate your own leads on Facebook, it really can become time consuming. It's not the end of the world. You can still balance it. But if it's just not what you want, if you don't want to be a marketer and run ads, then I would recommend this next option or the first option I went over. And that's to find a free lead model. Basically, this is kind of like a happy medium, where essentially you partner with a marketer that's running an agency. So like, for example, we have a free lead model at my agency. So we provide all of the leads for our agents and they just focus on selling. So they have lowered comp because we're giving them leads and they just focus on selling and we feed them all of the leads. That's essentially how it works. So whenever you're picking a free lead model, the same thing goes. Like, make sure they're running quality ads, make sure that other agents are seeing success with it, and make sure it's somebody that you'd want to be partnered with, right? So free lead model is the other option. I would shop around, compare different agencies, see what kind of free lead model this person has versus this person, and decide like what you think is going to be the best fit. And if you want to learn more about our free lead model, there's a link in the description there's like a 30-minute video going into how our whole agency works, but I won't get into that here. But yeah, those are the three main options, right? You can buy leads, you can generate leads, or you can join a free lead model where you give up comp for leads. The main thing, just really make sure that the advertising that your lead vendor or your agency is running is transparent and is actually about life insurance. So now let's get into the exciting part. Let's break down the script here. So another thing, the free script is going to be downloadable in the description down below. So stay tuned for that. All right, so let's dive into the script here. And I'm basically going to kind of like role play and show you guys how I would be, like what I would be doing as I'm closing a deal, right? So the legend, basically what this is just like, what you say is just in black. And action is going to be in this, bright dark blue. And then fill in the blank is going to be red. Key point is just like kind of like the outline of the script, right? So the first thing that you're doing whenever you open, the call is you're basically just doing an intro, right? The goal with this is you don't want to sound like a telemarketer and you just want to keep them on the phone. So basically I'll be like, hey, is John there? Right? Sounds, very conversational. Hey, is John there? Yeah, this is John. Hey, John, it's just Tim. I have that request you sent us here about the life insurance. How's it going? Right? You see how like normal and conversational I sound? Like, hey, is John there? Hey, John, it's just Tim. I have this request you sent us here about the life insurance. How's it going? Right? I sound like a normal person. Right? So John will say something like, oh, it's going good. It's going good. Like, okay, good. So John, was this your first time looking into life insurance? And then John will say something like, yeah, this is my first time looking into life insurance, right? And then I'll ask a question like, okay, got it. I mean, what were you concerned about? Like, what kind of got you concerned about this thing? Were you, just looking to leave money behind for family, or are we covering final expenses, right? Covering funeral expenses. So again, was this your first time looking into life insurance? And this, like, again, basically this whole section here is discovery. So I have specific questions listed, but based off of what they say, you want to ask a deeper follow-up question, right? So I'll show you guys what that looks like. So John, was this your first time looking into life insurance? Well, yeah, this is my first time. Okay, and John, what kind of got you concerned about this? Were you just looking to leave money behind for family or cover funeral expenses? Well, I want to cover funeral expenses and leave a little bit of extra money behind if I can. Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And just so I know how much insurance to look at for you here, John, did you want to do like a traditional burial or a cremation? Oh, I want to do a traditional burial. I don't want to be burned. Okay, that makes perfect sense. A lot of my clients feel the exact same way, right? See how I add a little bit of extra personality? You don't just want to like read the script word for word. You want to add in a little bit. This is basically a framework for you to follow, but you do have to be an actual person. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay. So was John, besides the traditional burial, was there anything else you were looking to cover? I know you mentioned leaving something behind. What were you looking to leave money behind for? Right. Oh, I'm just, looking to leave money behind for my kids. Oh, gotcha. Well, John, how many kids do you have? That's awesome. I have 2 kids. Okay, cool. Fantastic. So we're looking to potentially leave some money behind for your kids. And then I'm guessing, cover that traditional burial so they're not having to worry about that. So basically just repeat what they say back to you. Next, we're going to go and label them with a problem, right? So we're going to say, because what you'll notice a lot of times is a lot of these people have been declined for life insurance before because they often have health problems. So, and John, just to make sure I'm covering my bases here, have you ever been declined for life insurance? Right? Wait for the reply. No, I've never applied. I've never been declined. Okay, that makes perfect sense. No worries. And John, it looks like you listed your beneficiary here as your daughter. Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct. Okay, well, that makes sense. So, I mean, basically, you just want to make sure that your daughter doesn't have to worry about paying for your burial. And then basically, leave a little bit of extra money behind for your 2 kids. Is that right? So, see how I'm gathering this information and then I'm presenting it back to them. So, call intro, keep them on the phone. Discovery, find out their why. Once you find out their why, just repeat it back to them. It's literally that simple. Okay, well, that makes sense. So you just want to make sure that your daughter doesn't have to worry about paying for your burial and then potentially leave some extra money behind. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, John, just so you kind of understand what we do, we look at all of the big companies for you, like Mutual of Omaha, Aetna, American General, and basically our whole job is just to find you the most amount of coverage you can get for the lowest price you qualify for. Does that make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. Perfect. Well, John, I'm just going to ask you some health questions here to see which company is going to make the most sense for you. Let's start with, and then here, this is where I'm going to show you guys like the insurance toolkits and how to do this. Here, we're going to start going into the health questions, right? So let me pull up insurance toolkits here, and I'm going to do this split screen so you guys can kind of see what this looks like. All right, so while this is loading, let's see. So basically, as I'm kind of going through this, I'm basically going to start off with quoting them. So, John said he wants a traditional burial, so I'm going to do 20,000 as the top, and then I'm always going to show them 3 quotes, which you guys will see in the script in a second. But I'm going to start with 20,000, right? So John's obviously a male. I'm going to confirm his birthday, right? And John, just to confirm, you had your birthday listed here as, August 17th, 1950. Is that right? Okay, perfect. And then, what's a good height and weight for you, bud? I'm 5'9", 180. Perfect. And then boom. So before you ask about the tobacco or nicotine, you just ask about height and weight and confirm their birthday. Pretty simple. Then you're going to get into, okay, and, John, have you smoked tobacco or any nicotine in the last 12 months? Smoke a cigar every once in a while, but I don't smoke cigarettes. Boom. I'll click occasional pipe/cigar use only. So you're basically just filling this out with what they tell you, right? Okay, that makes sense. And then, John, are you taking any medications for any type of like high blood pressure or heart failure by any chance? Well, yeah, I take lisinopril. Okay, and so you see how I just searched this under medication? I'm typing it out. Okay, and that lisinopril, what was it prescribed for? Is it just high blood pressure, or did you have like a heart attack or heart failure? Oh, well, like I told you, I have congestive heart failure. Okay, got it. And that lisinopril, is that something you're taking currently? Yeah, I'm taking it currently. Okay, and do you know when you first got it filled? It was probably 5 years ago. So I'm going to go 2024 minus 5 years, 2019. Boom. So I'm asking the questions that pop up as I fill in info. So what happens is when you put stuff into toolkits, it's going to ask you follow-up questions about it, and I'm just going to ask that to the client. So next, okay. Any other medications that you take in for high blood pressure or heart failure? No, that's it. Just the lisinopril for the congestive heart failure. Okay. And then I'm going to put in congestive heart failure here. And he was diagnosed with that 5 years ago, so we'll put that in there. Okay, and John, are you taking any type of like medication for diabetes or anything like that? Yeah, I'm taking insulin. Okay. And then it usually has a name, right? Okay, and do you have like neuropathy with that diabetes by any chance? Yeah, I have neuropathy. Okay, and that insulin, is that something you currently take? Yep. Okay, and when did you first get that? About 3 years ago. Boom. So I'm asking these follow-up questions. And you know how many like units of insulin you're taking in a day? No, I'm not sure. Unsure. Okay. And has that diabetes ever been uncontrolled in the last 2 years? No, it hasn't. Okay, and was your most recent A1C reading, was it less than 8%? Yes. Okay, cool. Is that everything you're taking for diabetes? Yeah, that's it. All right, and do you use any like inhalers for, anything like COPD or asthma or something like that? Yeah, I take Pro Air. Okay. And they'll know these medications, right? Okay, and what is it? Is that like just for asthma or like chronic bronchitis or COPD? Oh, it's for COPD. Boom, click COPD. All right, and when did you get diagnosed with that COPD? Oh, it was about 5 years ago. Okay. 5 years ago. Got it. Okay. And John, have you ever had like cancer or a heart attack or a stroke? Well, I did have a heart attack. Okay, you said you had a heart attack. Let's see here. And when was that heart attack? Just a ballpark is okay. Oh, it was about, 10 years ago. Okay, got it. And have you had more than one heart attack in your life? No, I haven't. Got it. Okay. And then we already got his approximate height and weight. All right, John, and just to make sure I'm covering all my bases, are there any other health conditions that you think we should know about? Right? My job here is just to get you approved. Nope, that's it. Boom. So you see how, guys, like I literally, as I'm going through these questions, I'm asking these like base questions, and then I'm asking every other question that they, that Toolkits pops up with. So then all I'll do here is I'll click Get Quote, and we'll see what pops up for John. All right, looks like John is going to be guaranteed issue. And that's probably because he has congestive heart failure and all these other things, right? If I take some of this stuff off, like the heart attack or the congestive heart failure, and then click Get Quote, he's going to qualify for, let's see. Oh, yeah, let's get rid of the congestive heart failure. Right, so now he qualifies for Mutual of Omaha, right? And then as you can see here, all of these companies are popping up, and these are the different options that I can go with, right? So I can say, okay, he's going to qualify for Mutual of Omaha, and this is going to be the price for $20,000. I was going to qualify for Corebridge, which is AIG. This is going to be $209. American Amicable. There's all these different companies, all these different prices, right? So this one's going to be graded. Let's try and see if I can get him something that's not graded. We'll just go like diabetes and high blood pressure. Boom. Cool. So obviously I'm just looking at this as an example. But we have American Amicable, $183.01 a month. So what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to transition. So I've gone through the health questions. I got everything pulled up here. So I'm going to be like, okay. So John, based off of what you're telling me, it looks like you might be able to qualify for one of the programs here in the area. I'm going to get a couple quotes for you pulled up real quick. Give me just 1 second. And John, while I'm doing that, are you familiar with like the different types of life insurance, like term and whole life? The reason that you do this is a lot of times people don't know the difference. They're a little confused. And so if you give them a whole life price, they're going to expect a lot more insurance for the amount that they're paying. So a lot of these people, they've had coverage through work or something else. And so they don't really understand why it's more expensive now that they're older. So you really want to explain that. No, I'm not familiar. All right, so John, real simply, term life is kind of like milk, eggs, and cheese, right? It's great while it lasts, but once it, goes bad, once it expires, you have to throw it out, right? So basically, it usually lasts for like a period of time, 10, 20, 30 years. It's best for younger people that are still working, and you're going to get a lot of coverage for a lower price, but it expires. And so once it expires again, you have to throw it out, right? Again, it's better for younger people. Whereas whole life is, kind of like a Twinkie. It never expires, right? So it lasts just like the name says for your whole life. So whatever payment you lock in, you're going to pay that for the rest of your life. And whatever benefit that you select is going to pay out to your family 100% of the time, right? This is usually better for people in retirement because it's guaranteed. But based off of that, what do you think would be better for you? More term or more whole life? And they're going to say whole life every time. Okay, perfect. So, John, the quotes I'm getting pulled up here for you are for a company called American Amicable. Have you ever heard of them? No, I haven't. Okay, no worries. Well, so the reason that we're picking this company for you, John, is based off of your health conditions, with the diabetes and the high blood pressure. American Amicable is going to offer you the most amount of coverage for the lowest amount each month, and there's no waiting period. Do you see why we're going with this option? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So, John, I've got these quotes ready for you. Do you want to grab a pen and paper for me? Right? And so basically what I'm doing as I'm going through this is I got 20,000 here. So I'm going to write down for me on a sheet of paper, 20,000. And I'm doing this as I'm going through this other part for 181.03, right? And then I'm going to get 15,000. I'll just hit quote. So 15,000. And this is going to be for 136. And I'm doing this all in the background, right? So that I'm prepared. And then I'm going to get 10,000. And I'm writing this all down on a piece of paper so that I have it handy so I can present it to the client. 91.84. See, it's all handy. So, all right. So, John, I've got these quotes ready for you. Do you want to grab a pen and paper for me? And every single time, you have to make them grab a pen and paper. If they don't, you're not going to get the sale. And you always have to present 3 options and make them grab a pen and paper. That is non-negotiable. Okay, so John, I wanted to give you a range of options here so we could basically figure out what works, what works for the best for you and what's going to make the most sense. Just let me know when you're ready. All right, I'm ready. All right, so John, this insurance company actually came back with 3 different offers for you, okay? They came back with 20,000, 15,000, and 10,000. Let me know when you got it down. All right, so then you're going to wait for them to write it down, wait for them to reply. And basically the way that we present it is we want to isolate the variables. So what I mean by that is the first thing we're going to isolate is the coverage amounts and how the plan works. Because we want to make sure they understand that fully. All right, so John, basically the way this program works is that it's going to cover you from day one, right? Meaning if you make your first payment on a Tuesday and pass away on a Wednesday, your family gets the full check. Does that make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. Perfect. And also, it never expires, and the plan will never reduce or go up at any time, right? It's always going to stay the same. John, what questions do you have for me on this plan or how it works? And just wait. Answer any questions they have. And then, boom. Okay, and John, it looks like these prices just came back for us here. Now, these prices never go up or down, and for as long as you make the small payment, they give your family the big payout. Does that make sense? Perfect. All right, so John, next to the 20,000, the 20,000 came back here at only $181.03 a month. The second option, the 15,000, came back at only $136.44 per month. And the 10,000 came back at only $91.84 per month. All right, let me know when you got it all down. So what I'm doing here is I'm isolating this part, making sure they have no questions about how the plan works before I show them the prices. Because what you don't want to happen is like you give them everything and then they have questions and they're like, oh, this sounds crazy expensive. So you want to isolate each variable. Isolate the coverages and then isolate the prices. Okay, so John, we can always go up or down, but based off of these 3 options we just covered here with you, which do you think would be the best fit for you and your family? Right? And then we just wait. And they're going to pick one of the 3 options. Or they're going to go up or they're going to go down. They're like, hey, this is too expensive. Go down. They're like, hey, can I get more coverage? Then go up. Simple. All right. Now, John, in the event that we were able to get you approved for this company, because I don't know if I can get you approved. And side note, the approval is always up in the air. Part of the reason you're able to get them to fill out the app is because I don't know if I can get you approved, but let's check and see if I can, right? So you always want to make the approval kind of like iffy or up in the air. All right, now in the event that we were able to get you approved, John, would you want to go ahead and set this up for today, right? Sometimes they'll say, oh, no, I can't do it today, whatever. I'll have to wait until I get paid. No worries, that's totally fine. Well, John, most of my clients either get paid on the 1st or the 3rd. Which one is it for you? Oh, I get paid on the 3rd. Okay, perfect. Well, what we can do is we can set it up here on the 3rd. if you are able to get approved. Give me one moment while I get logged in here, right? And then as I'm going through this, all right, and John, I'm just going to verify some information with you real quick just to make sure this pays out to the right Smith family. Let's say I'm talking to John Smith. And then you start confirming their information and filling out the application. That's literally it, right? If you guys run into any objections, check this video out. This is a video I posted a few months ago. It's called How to Overcome Any Life Insurance Objection. I will also link this in the description so you guys can check it out. And basically, this will show you guys how to overcome any objection, right? This video is already like an hour long, so I'm not going to go over every single objection in this, but there's a whole video that goes into that. So again, guys, underwriting, that's what we use insurance toolkits for. That's what I just did here. It's going to pop up with which company they're going to get approved for, and I can look at it and get all the prices this way. And this is going to allow you to find them the most bang for their buck, which is ultimately what these people want. They want to get a good deal. They want to protect their family, but they want to do it affordably, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, that is literally the entire workflow. Oh, yeah. One more thing I want to show you guys is the CRM and how that kind of connects. All right. So, this is what Go High Level looks like, right? So, basically, you have all these contacts here, right? You have all these different people. This is where you can have conversations with your contacts. You can text them back and forth. All of your contacts are going to be listed here. And this is basically like, this is not going to be a full Go High Level tutorial. If you guys want to figure that out, go do some research. But this is basically just like a list of all of your leads, right? Pretty simple. It's a list of all of your leads. This is basically just where you store the leads. And it's super duper helpful. And ultimately, like, none of what I do would be possible without this. So this is Go High Level. Let me show you guys what Kixie is real quick. Right? So Kixie is basically what allows you to call through your leads. And so what it does is it locally number wraps your leads. So if I call someone in Dallas, even if I'm in North Carolina, it's going to call them with a Dallas number. So it's always going to call people with their local area code, with their number, and it boosts your answer rates like crazy. You can call 2, 3, 4 people at a time. This is an absolute must-have for any agent. And basically what you do is you just you click resume, you click start dialing, and it just calls through your list. If you guys want to see like a separate Kixie tutorial, let me know. This video is already almost an hour, so I'm going to cut it. But yeah, guys, let me open back up my little PowerPoint here. That, ladies and gentlemen, is everything that you need to know to sell life insurance from home in 2024. All of the links are going to be in the description. And if you guys have any questions, just drop them in the comments down below. Hit the like button, share this with a friend that you think would find value from it, and hit the subscribe button for more content like this. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.